recently I received another question on my social media blogs about I'm a coach and I'm not necessarily getting as many clients as I'd like. So, and give you some tips on how to get more clients. Well, there's a thing called I learned from Walter Haley, who is a gentleman that assisted in the building of Kmart back in the 80s. Um, he taught me a very simple thing about sales, and that was naturally existing economic relationships. So the very first thing I would do is I would go to the people that you've already delivered service to and contact them and ask them for feedback about the service and engage them in potentially stimulating referrals because naturally existing economic relationships or warm calls are much greater than cold calls. Now, that's the first thing. I ask people sometime at the end of my seminar, how many of you thought about somebody who could have been here? If they would have been here, they would have been grateful they could have been at this program. And all the hands go up. And I said, then help me help them. And I explained to them that let's get those individuals and find out what we can do to serve them. And then I give them options on how they can be served. You know, can they come onto a free webinar or can they come to my website? Can they get something sent to them, a product? Give them a variety of ways of helping you serve other people and reach other people that they believe in and will benefit from your service. So start with warm clients and build outward. Then another step I found is that more people you meet and greet, the more you're going to treat, as I used to say in practice. So if you're out there and exposing yourself, how many people are you committed to meeting every day? I made a commitment when I was in practice many years ago to meet at least three new people a day, at least three. Now I did way more than that in most cases, but at least three. And if you basically expose yourself and introduce yourself and don't want immediate gratification, don't try to impose a sale onto somebody, but going out and care about somebody to meet their needs, finding out what their needs are, gain rapport. You know, you greet and introduce somebody, you gain some rapport by asking questions, establish rapport. You then go and establish a need that they have in their life by asking questions, confirm the need, then offer a solution. Don't ever offer a solution to somebody that they haven't established a need, or you're just automatically getting a no. And but by going out and developing relationships, long-term relationships, people, not just immediate sales, but long-term relationships, you're more likely to thrive in the business world and getting more clients. So first is warm contacts, naturally existing economic relationship. The second is getting out and exposing yourself and making new connections and developing relationships. You may not get a business lead right away. You may have to develop a lead for a period of time, but you develop a long-term relationship and they may refer, they may come, or their family may come for your services. Then you want to make sure you have established what are the needs of these people and find the common needs. Find the common needs to all the people you served. Make sure you get testimonials and feedback from the people that you served. If they're not giving you feedback of what actually has benefited them, then you won't have the data. Get their testimonial. Add those and put them into a book so you have those available. And somebody asks you, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm involved in coaching. Great. What kind of people do you work with? And said, well, here, let me read to you some of the comments I've done and what I've been able to benefit. And then keep records of what you actually have in the core competence, the certainty to help. Don't try to sell something to somebody that you're not certain about the results. Make sure you deliver what's certain, and you'll have a higher probability of selling. If you sell something you think that they may need, but it's not really something you're certain about, it's not going to come across well, and then your results not going to be there. Stick to what you know and let what you know grow as you grow your knowledge. It's coaching. And also exposure. As I said, if you're not getting out there and exposing yourself to new people, you're probably not. Now, there's social media out there. That's fine. I find that for every 1,000 I meet on social media, compared to a naturally existing economic relationship, um, the return on that is not as great, and the quality of the client's not always as great. But there's still no harm in doing that. You build a brand that way if people get to know you, and sooner or later, because they're used to having it free, they may not value unless you can offer some sort of value to them. Make sure that you know the utility, the benefit, the features, the advantages, the uniqueness, and the services that you provide, and stack up all the benefits and values and utilities of what you're offering, so you have plenty of information to present somebody. and then listen carefully to their need. Establish a need with these people before you try to offer something, and don't offer something that doesn't match what they're looking for. Or you're going to get a no, and you push them away instead of help them come near you. But care, it's all, selling is about caring. It's about caring about it to do that. And also your client base is going to grow if you basically schedule more sessions with them or longer sessions. If you're driving one white line to the next as you're going down the highway, you're going to wobble and your business is going to wobble. If you have a long-term vision, a tree or a mountain in the background, and you're looking 10 miles ahead and you focus on that, you'll get a stable drive. The same in a business. The more you schedule and the more service you provide, and the longer the term that you commit somebody to, the higher the quality of the client and the higher the quality of the business, and the more it grows. Your numbers of clients that you have is the number of new clients times the client visit average, the number of sessions you do with them. So if you schedule more sessions, you'll have a more stable business. And if you get out and expose yourself, you'll have more new clients. And the longer they work with you, the higher the probability they're going to refer. I also, when it used to be, have an enchanted forest in my office where every time somebody referred, I had a whole thing on a wall that basically showed that there's some people that's referred 3 people to 5 people, 5 to 8 people, anything over 10 people. I called them grass people, herb people, bush people, and tree people. And I was trying to build a forest. So I was concentrating on how many people I was generating from each one, and I was following through. And I used to tell my clients, I said, is there something I'm doing that's not serving you? Because I noticed you haven't referred. And not most of our clients, as you can see on the Enchanted Forest, are referring at least 5 to 10 people here. And so, give them something to target and give yourself a goal line and put it on a checklist to make sure you're stimulating referrals every day. If you do, you're probably going to do it. The key is to care about people. The more people you care about and you go out and try to meet the needs of, the bigger your business is going to be. And don't make presumptions about what you're offering. Make sure you're giving them a need, meeting a need. Sometimes what you think they need and what they think they need are two different things. Make sure those match. So otherwise, you think they need this, but they don't believe it, so they're not buying. Or they think they need this, but you don't believe it, and you're not selling. Make sure that you have some overlap and find out where your core competence is and stick to what it is that you can help, because then you're certain about the results and it comes across. But anyway, that's a couple things you might do if you haven't done that. And just know that, are you clear about the vision of where you want to go? Any detail you leave out of your vision becomes an obstacle and challenge you'll face. And people that are clear on their vision, they don't plateau. So look at your vision and make sure it's clear. If you can't articulate it to somebody else where they know exactly what you're committed to and it's not vague, it's very clear, then I would get clear about it, because that's the key to growing the business also. Clarity of vision, clarity of what you're offering, and clarity about what they're going to get as a result. So anyway, I thought that might be just a quick 5-minute response to your question, and for the individual that asked the question. And I know that's probably spilling over to some other people, but just know that the magnitude of the vision that you have will determine the magnitude of your business. And if you care enough, when you can't wait to get up in the morning and be of service to people, people can't wait to get your service. Make sure it's the service you want to provide that you can't wait to get up in the morning and do.